What's happening, people? What you need in the building? While I'm busy doing some things, we can talk a little bit of boxing. So Terri Harper, man, she won her fight as well as Katie Taylor. Congrats to them. Terri Harper, of course, being I think she's defending her titles. And quick turnover fight. Katie Taylor winning over um, the challenger. I think it was Gutierrez. Um, both fights were entertaining. They were entertaining. I don't have too much to say on them. Just to give congratulations to those people because those fights also happened on the weekend in the UK. Um, and the UK they got some champions over there, man. They be doing their thing. So kudos to them. I just heard a noise out there. Yeah. Uh, what you need in the building. That's all I got to say for now concerning that because I know nobody really covers women's boxing, and it's really beautiful to see women's boxing going on and on. Oh, and some other news. Errol Spence was talking about Clarissa Shields, and he was saying same thing I've been saying. Errol Spence in his top five pound per pound fighters today, he cited Canelo as the number one. No, yeah, Canelo as the number one pound for pound. Then I think he said Chocolatito. He has his pound for pound number two. I think he had himself as number three. Terrence Crawford is number four. And Clarissa Shields is number five. And he made the comment about Clarissa Shields, which I thought was just beautiful. And it just fell directly in line with what I said about Clarissa Shields. That she can hang with a lot of guys in boxing today. He had sparred Clarissa Shields, and he said she got to be number five pound for pound. Usually people when they talk about pound for pound, they don't mention the woman. I was just looking at something else. So shout out to all the women pioneers out there and all the women, who are in boxing, the warriors or sister folk who are warriors out there. Shout out to them. Special shout out to Clarissa Shields. Special shout out to Amanda Serrano. Special shout out to Katie Taylor, uh, Cecilia Breakers. All the women out there to be doing their thing. Hannah, what's her name? Hannah, I think it's Hannah Massey. Yeah, all of them. I mean, there's a lot of them. Terri Harper, the Jamaican lady, the Southpaw, like her style, man. She's slick and thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, um, what's her name? Estrada, Sinicia Estrada. Shout out to her. You know, all these women who be doing that thing in boxing. You know what I'm saying? And your shine gonna come. You guys just keep on putting in the work. Keep on putting in the work. Your shine definitely gonna come. We always focus on the men a lot. Sometimes I really get annoyed by that. That we focus on the men too much in boxing. Sometimes, we got this new breed out there. Same thing happening in the women's boxing. There's a new breed of woman out here, and so we need to have that respect. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Savannah Marshall, who I think won her world title. I think she won a world title, middleweight world title, WBC or WBA. I can't remember which one. Shout out to her as well. A lot of star boxers now out there, people knowing them, getting to know their names. Of course, other pioneers, who've been threading it for the longest while. We really started hearing about women's boxing through what's her name? She's now in MMA and doing her thing in MMA, but she always was on one of those New York cards. You know what I'm saying? I forgot what her name is, man. I could see her, but I just can't remember her name. But shout out to her as well. See, you know, I just think the sport of boxing deals with gladiators. I'm not saying that women's boxing is at the level that men's boxing is. No, the development's a little bit slower because they only get their shot a little later on. Okay? What people don't know in the history of boxing, women used to be able to box. They were allowed to box for a certain period of time and then it was banned again. They were banned from boxing. It's crazy. That's just how the sport goes. But you're gonna find people who like to scrap, period. That's just a personality trait. It don't matter if you're a woman or a man or you something else, they like to scrap. Some people just their mentality is one of combat. And if you don't channel that energy in the right direction, they become a menace to society. They become a menace. They get into all kinds of things, all kinds of problems to society. And boxing is a way to discipline, channel that energy, and still come back, but for money. You know what I'm saying? Focus that energy to money. So I really, you know, different people have different things in their lives. But Terrence Bud Crawford, um, Terrence was a problem. He was a problem. And boxing helped him to focus in. Now you see that this guy is good at almost all sports. He's very competitive, and that's really cool. That's really cool to see from Terrence. Bud is. I saw what recently Bob Arum said about Bud. How costly it could be for Top Rank, and he might renew the contract October 21st of 20 or October 2021. But October 2021 so far off. A lot of people talking about Crawford coming across to the PBC. I think he's gonna get PBC fights way before that. He's gonna see some of those top guys. The top guys are calling him out already. And of course, we're hearing that Crawford Pacquiao might be made, or maybe Spence Pacquiao. So we'll see which one. I guess they're lobbying to see who could give Pacquiao a sweeter deal, Pacquiao sweeter offer. You know what I mean? So Pacquiao and his team might look at them, but I think that after Errol fights Danny Garcia, I think he might just face Terrence Crawford next. Terrence Crawford's what, 33 years old, 32 going on 33, something like that. So I really think it's in their best interest to get it on now, because that's at least the end of the prime. You don't want to be like saying, how people are in history. I'm not saying the boxers have to do this, but the fans, they put an asterisk on it. It'll say Errol waited 4, 5, 6 years or whatever to face Terrence Crawford. That's what they're gonna say. So you don't want that to happen. You don't want to be stigmatized like that. You want to make sure you at least catch the guy in his prime. 32, 33 years of age. You know. So they talking about the fight being drawn out. I don't see it like that. I see Errol trying to get his leverage, so when he has to fight, he can dictate terms. Of course, Terrence might be able to pull that leverage back a little bit by facing Manny Pacquiao. That's a big, big, big fight. Any Pacquiao fight's a big fight. So if Terrence could get a Pacquiao fight and somehow beat him, then Terrence gonna have legacy, because he's gonna have Pacquiao name under his belt, which he should have had because Pacquiao was with Top Rank. He should have faced Pacquiao. Instead, Pacquiao faced Jeff Horn. Some people say they rigged the fight, but I just think all the conditions were in Jeff Horn's favor. It was in Jeff Horn's backyard and everything. They fueled everything. Jeff Horn was talking about he had the style to beat Pacquiao. So Bob Arum set it up, hoping that Jeff Horn would beat Pacquiao so he could pass the torch on to Terrence Crawford through Jeff Horn. So you say like, this is the guy that beat Pacquiao. You know what I mean? So that's how Terrence would indirectly be linked to Pacquiao. But in my personal opinion, I think that Terrence Crawford, if he can get that Pacquiao fight, that'd be really cool. If he don't, well, too bad. Now, you know what I mean? But I hope that he tries to press for the Errol Spence fight. And I hope that Bobby Arum and Top Rank will push for that to happen. I listened to Timothy Bradley saying that fight will never happen, and ESPN's pushing that. I don't understand why a network would do that. See, I never heard PBC say that fight's never happening. I never heard PBC say that. None of their commentators. They always encouraging of certain fights. Now, would it be easy to negotiate with Bob Arum? That's a totally different story. I'm gonna explain to you what I mean. So, what I mean by that is, Arum always wants to be the A side. Arum always wants his A side fighters. Arum doesn't like being the B side. Arum don't like carrying his fighters into fights that they can't win. It's not Mayweather who doesn't put his fighters into fights that they can't win, because we even see people from Mayweather Promotions. Mayweather say, "Oh, you want to step up to the plate?" Regis Prograis versus that kid Heraldez, right? Step up to the plate. Heraldez came up short. He got knocked out. But Mayweather was like, "Dare to be great." You know what I'm saying? Mayweather don't have a problem with his fighters wanting to be great and taking risks if they really truly believe it in their hearts. You know, And he don't have, again, Mayweather and Al Heyman, they don't have a problem with Danny Jacobs going across, except for example, to face Canelo. He ain't got no problem with that. Danny Jacobs he fought Derevchenko for the IBF title when I believe he was on, I think it was on Showtime. And then he moved across to HBO to get the Canelo fight, right? Or something like that. No. He actually crossed the pond to face Gennady Golovkin. That's right. Peter Quillen didn't. So maybe they're right that the champions, they try to keep, Al Haym and the PBC try to keep champions on their side of the court. Maybe because when the guys are not champions, and they're calling out X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean. But Pacquiao he's in the PBC, and Terrence Bud Crawford's trying to make a fight with Pacquiao. So I mean, I just think that Bob Arum tries to protect his fighters. Bob Arum tries to get a situation where he knows his fighters can win. He tries to create conditions where his fighters can win. I think it's more reflective of Bob Arum and Top Rank, because if you look at it, all the guy he wants to say that Top Rank has the reputation of having winners on it. You know what I mean? And if they gotta lose to a Top Rank fighter. You know what I mean? Um, you look at Bitterbiev. He wanted Bitterbiev to sign to face Gavordi because he wanted to have the winner. So that's more reflective of Bob Arum. Bob Arum's more like that, not Mayweather, not Al Heyman, because Al Heyman sends his fighters all over the place. To wherever they want to go, they go. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like that talk by the PBC and ESPN, and the fact that they do doomsday. They're trying to talk down the fight, then talk up the fight. Like I would think, instead of saying this guy's ducking me or what, they would be striving very hard to make that Crawford versus Spence fight, especially after Crawford's last performance with Kell Brook. They should be pressing for that. That should be the next fight after if Errol Spence gets past Danny Garcia. That should be the next fight. That's what they should be pressing for. Because who's to say that Errol Spence will get Pacquiao? Maybe Bud gets. Okay, Bud lands Pacquiao, then we gotta wait till after Bud faces Pacquiao, and Errol had to face somebody else. And I think Errol's all other people because if you think about it, after Danny Garcia, who's next? Or Dennis Ugas? Okay, they got Ugas, but after that, Spence said he's not facing Keith Thurman. Not facing Keith Thurman. That's on him. I would take on Keith Thurman. I take on all comers. And I beat that ass. I guess he don't like Keith Thurman, but that don't matter if you don't like him, then fight him. You know what I mean? I know Canelo don't like Triple G, but he fought Triple G twice. That's totally different. And you don't want to give him a third rematch, but with the with the condition with the situation with Thurman, Errol hasn't even faced Thurman. Yeah, I know you were chasing him down, and you want to do it back to him, but you can't. It's a fight game. You're supposed to. Otherwise, you basically ducking Thurman. So I'm just saying, as whack as Thurman may be, you know what I mean. But I think Spence has two more opponents, maybe Pacquiao. So if Spence faces Pacquiao next, after Danny Garcia, because he lands the Pacquiao fight. I don't think he'll land a Pacquiao fight right now. The reason being because he's got Danny Garcia in front of him. So Terrence might be the one to be able to negotiate with Pacquiao right now. He might have that opportunity. But I'm just saying. Uh, I'm just saying because a lot of people say, "Oh, these guys are ducking." They're ducking Crawford. I don't think that nobody's ducking Crawford. Nobody. You know, I think that the Top Rank stable. That's a staple of what Top Rank, ESPN, and HBO used to say. Oh, this guy's ducking this guy. This guy's ducking, and they just are all agreed on the narrative, including Andre Ward, to say whack shit like that. Another fight that I think is one that should be made is Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney, and that should happen early next year. We know Wilder's going to be facing Tyson Fury next year. That's on now, and I'm glad. I'm glad. He went into the course and made sure that the case could be pursued against Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury has to face him, so that's good stuff. But I'm just saying, Devin Haney, who is the rightful WBC champion. He ain't no franchise champion, which is non-transferable. How you can be undisputed, right? Think about this. A champion has to defend their title or had defended their title. Okay? How can you be a WBC champion, right? And you haven't defended your WBC belt? You remember he vacated the WBC belt and he had this attribute of the franchise champion. She's never defended the WBC belt. And that's the belt that must be defended, right? So yeah, he's a champ. He's a champion, but that championship is not transferable. Teofimo Lopez, he became franchise champion on request. In other words, I guess they drummed up some kind of shit. I don't know. But petitioned for him to become a franchise champion. So, and what the criteria was for the WBC, I don't know what the hell they was doing. It's just said elite athlete now. You can see Female Lopez never moved up any weight classes or did anything like that. But if he beat Lomachenko, he'd be franchise champion. Lomachenko will still be franchise champion. So there's 2 franchise champions at lightweight right now. But Teofimo Lopez will be awarded the franchise championship. You understand? But it's not transferable. So if Teofimo Lopez, for example, faces a mandatory, I think the guy who's mandatory for a WBC title, or mandatory to him, I don't think it's whatever. That guy doesn't get to become undisputed when he faces Teofimo Lopez. And that's the shit that shows that the WBC don't know what the fuck they're doing. Now, if the title was transferable, like the Super Championship is, right? Then and only then, the franchise championship would have made sense. But to do that means you're going to change the definition of the franchise championship yet again. Okay? So, I think it's a bunch of baloney. Whereas Devin Haney is the real WBC champion because that title can be transferred to another person if they beat Devin Haney. So I don't even know why the WBC put in the franchise championship, and then they added this extra weight class, which is a stupid thing to do again. And I know a lot of people say, well, we should have the super heavyweights and then the heavyweights, but they didn't do that. They put in some kind of other shit, a shitty ass division that's not called heavyweight, and then you got the heavyweight division. So I just think that the WBC is doing a lot of shit, and Maurice Suleiman, I don't know what the hell he's doing, but he's doing a lot of stupid stuff. And I have no doubt, or he and his committee, or whoever's advising, is doing some really stupid stuff, and I hope that they can get their act together, because the WBC's prestige, while the belt looks really good, is going down the crapper. As for Teofimo Lopez saying he's undisputed, no, you ain't, bro. You're not undisputed, okay? If you was undisputed, that means your WBC belt, somebody could win it from you. They could beat you. You have a status of franchise champion for life. You represent the WBC for life. That's why it's called franchise, right? For what? I don't know. But I guess we're beating Lomachenko. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you're not undisputed. And I don't care if the WBC says that. It's not recognized by other governing bodies because it's not transferable title. You can only be undisputed if your title can be transferable. That's common sense. Which means somebody can beat you and get the title. So the WBC's done rubbish. And on top of that, you don't request to become a franchise champion. That's bullshit. What kind of championship is that? So you're basically paying for a championship? That's what basically is going through. Listen. The super championship is earned. Okay? You are appointed super champion after certain criteria is passed. And that's by beating another super champion. That's one way. Unification, that's another way. And defending your title a number of times. I think it's 7 times or 5 times, something like that. Okay? So you earn that. So your actions. Franchise champion is bought. It's bullshit. And anybody want to contest me on this, I can easily go to town. Anybody. And as for Andre Ward with his statements about YouTubers, I don't know what he's talking about really, but I take it personally as well because I'm a YouTuber as well. I know he's not really talking about me per se, but yet I've been critical of him. Okay, and I'm gonna say it again to Andre Ward: your bias and your bullshit bias. I'm gonna call you out on that, bro. And I love me Andre Ward, hell of a boxer. Okay, I love Andre Ward. I respect Andre Ward, not just as a boxer, but as a person. But you playing political games, bro. You going with the ESPN narrative. Your scorecard was whack. Only by 2 rounds, but nonetheless whack. Those rounds were not debatable, and you're spreading misinformation. I know Andre Ward is very picky about that, and he might feel a how about it. But you, brother, you need to straighten that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Uh, 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 uh. You know misinformation in this era, Trump. You know how much lies and non-factual things people be doing. Don't be doing that. If you bias towards your boy Crawford, then say, okay, man, it's probably somebody. I know Andrew was a very picky guy. He likes to pick his words, choose his words. He doesn't want to be misquoted. Okay. But like I said before, I get the sentiment, and he's talking about he hears things in the background. That's bullshit. Errol Spence said what he was going to do next. And Errol Spence is showing by his actions, which are fact, that he ain't afraid of no fucking Terrence Crawford. And he wants to face Terrence Crawford next. He wants to face Terrence Crawford. He wants to become undisputed. So how the hell are you going to become undisputed if you don't face Terrence Crawford? And that's going to happen next year. Okay, he got in an accident, so that kind of derailed him a little bit. And he jumped right back on the horse. And he's going straight at Danny Garcia. Okay, so Errol Spence, he's going to face Terrence Crawford next. It did nothing to do with Al Heyman and none of that bullshit. Get your facts right, Andrew. I'm gonna check your ass. I ain't got a problem doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because you was the real deal. You a real dude. I checked Mayweather's ass too when he came down on you saying, "Oh, Andrew Ward lost that fight and Virgil hit 100 is not, he ain't no coach." I said, check his ass. I said, Floyd smoking some crack. You know what I'm saying? I check people because, hey, listen. We gotta be real out here. Somebody gotta check somebody. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's good to have people that are not yes men. You know, and I will defend to the hilt Andre Ward's career. I will defend to the hilt a lot of things that Andre Ward says in the business. I'll defend to the hilt Andre Ward. What not only the nuggets of knowledge and the caliber fighter. I will go as far to say I think Andre Ward would beat Roy Jones Jr. I know Andre Ward don't like to hear that, but I don't care because I just think he was a much more smarter fighter than Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. was much more gifted, much more talented, but he wasn't smarter than Andre Ward. And I guarantee you, Andrew Ward will find a way to win. That's the thing that Andrew Ward does. Right. So let me leave that aside. That's my confidence in Andrew Ward. And y'all can say what you want. I think Andrew Ward will beat Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones is a hell of a fighter. Hell of a fighter. And he's a smart fighter too. Don't get me wrong. I just think on the inside, Ward would rip him apart on the inside. And we all know Roy is not the best inside fighter, but we see some of his inside fighting game. Why I say he's not the best, he did not work on that game. He exploited the things he was really good at, and he did not focus. And that's why he gets knocked out. He got knocked out because he positioned his body in the wrong way. It's not necessarily that Roy's chinny, okay? He don't have the strongest chin in the world, but he get hit flush with certain shots that just knock him out because of how he positions his body. Andrew was a master at fucking positioning his body and getting position on the inside and fighting on the inside. He's a master at that. And the level at which Andrew Ward fights on the inside is shit. Listen. I don't know why people undervalue Andrew Ward, but that's a master craftsman at his best in boxing. That's pugilistic perfection. You know, and the man his arms was falling off of him. His knees was giving him problems. He was breaking apart. When he fought Sergey Kovalev, he was breaking apart. And this guy still found a way to win. Physically, you know, I'm just saying, man. Yo, and they say, oh, Andrew Ward left the game as the division started to heat up. Really? Like seriously, Andrew Ward versus Billy BF. You would have. I guarantee you, Andrew Ward will find a way to win that fight. All right, he prepared. It's just he just prepared so well. There's a reason this man wasn't defeated since the amateurs. Okay, so when I listen to Andrew, what I value very highly what he says. Sometimes I'm a little disrespectful, but I'm a fan. So we entitled to say whatever the hell we want to say. But at the end of the day, though, me calling out Andrew Ward on this is not because I hate Andrew Ward. Oh hell no! It's because I value his opinion. I value that he tells the truth. And I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't care how much you hear through the grapevine. And I don't want him sabotaging this fight. Errol Spence versus Crawford. There must be no reason why Errol Spence and Crawford can't fight next year. But when you start creating narratives, oh, the fight will never happen. You sound like Donald Trump. I hate to put Andrew or anybody in the category of Donald Trump. Okay. But Donald Trump, look what he did. Look what he did. Why are y'all doing the same bait game? That's the same thing they did with Pacquiao. Pacquiao is the one that did not make the agreement with Floyd. But Floyd dragged it on, and Al Heyman knew what he was doing. What the fuck you talking about, man? That ain't make no damn sense. Then Roy Jones Jr. says this was the perfect time for the fight. For Pacquiao. It wasn't for Floyd. Floyd wanted Pacquiao since 2010. Why would he make a negotiation to face a guy? Let's be real. Why would you even try to make a fight to face a guy? He wasn't under any pressure to face him. He wasn't under any pressure to come back into boxing. He fought Marquez, a similar size with Pacquiao. And then the next guy he went after was Pacquiao, because Pacquiao was pound for pound number one. It made sense. Everything about it made sense. He decided, I'm going to put USADA up in there because I don't know if you're using something. Okay? That's his prerogative. But Pacquiao couldn't agree to that. And don't tell me it was ego, because that's a simple thing. That's just continual testing, which we use today. So don't tell me that was a big deal. Okay? I'm just saying. Now, I'm going to be real again, because people don't like me when I say fuck Bob Arum, so I'm not going to say that, even though I just said it. But Bob Arum has played so many games with the media and with people and with fans, and they bite into his shit, hook, line, and sinker. Now people had a backlash on Terrence Crawford because they realized his competition wasn't that steep until Kell Brook. I thought Kell Brook fight was just brilliant. Okay, I looked at all his other fights and it's brilliant as well. And Terrence Crawford is real. He is the dude. Okay. And I went on to say that, and I thought he was going to beat Brook by a unanimous decision. I thought this fight was going to go on longer, but he check hooked him. Perfect timing and everything. Kell Brook never saw the punch because he was throwing his lead right. Boom. It is what it is. Brook was trying to survive the storm, and if he probably did, we would have gone on with the fight. He didn't. So that's brilliant. There's nothing short of brilliant what Terrence Crawford did. And it showed for the first time, because Kell Brook's a quality dude. He's a quality fighter. Nothing was wrong with Kell Brook in this fight. Came into the fight, best he had ever been. And Terrence figured him out, man. And the first time he threw the right hook before. He was trying to throw the right hook before. You could see him fainting to throw the right hook before. But the first right hook he landed, that was it. Check hook. Check hook. Beautiful stuff. You know what I mean? I think I'll do a video clip on that. So I'm talking to you guys while I'm cooking food or while I'm doing some other things, folding clothes and getting myself organized. I got to go outside and do some stuff with the plants as well. Drink some water. But I just want to let you guys know, man, boxing is the real, you got to be real about boxing. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are not real about it. So, Andrew Ward, I know he tries to pick his words. He doesn't want to be confused with Timothy Bradley. He wants to be saying what he's saying. But you can't couch words a certain way. Don't do it. Don't play the Jim Lampley game. Don't play the what's his name, Max Kellerman game. Don't do that, Andrew Ward. You know, that's tongue in cheek shit. Be clear about what you're saying. You know what I mean? You gotta be clear about what you're saying, because at the end of the day, you can either tear down a guy's career or you can build his career up. I like Showbiz the Adult because Showbiz the Adult looks to build up a fighter's career and show how remarkable that fighter is, which is a good thing. He does have a little bias against Floyd, but I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. You know, I'm cool with it. There's this thought out there that Floyd ducked and dodged people. He never ducked and dodged nobody. He never did. Well, we all know Andrew Ward didn't duck and dodge nobody. He went straight to the flame, you know. Bernard Hopkins. But Floyd, he faced guys and he built his cachet, meaning, and this is what the modern boxer got to understand. Floyd decided, I'm going to face the very best, but I'm going to make sure that it also maximizes my dollars while I'm facing the very best. And we're looking to face the very best. But we got to make dollars. And he had a really great engine so that whoever he was facing, and because of his track record, because he was winning every single fight and he was pound for pound #1 fighter, he never got dethroned. But, you know, and this is what Terrence Crawford has at stake. And he going to get those big fights. But I got to explain to Terrence, it took Floyd years to get those big fights. It took him, he started boxing. He started doing this thing in 1996. And it was only in 2007, right? Which is 11 years after he started boxing. Even though he became a world champion within the first year to 2 years, right? It took him 11 years to face Oscar De La Hoya to get that big payday. It took him, Shane Mosley was 1999. He faced Shane Mosley in 2011, right? 11 years. No, 2010. Yeah. So 11 years to face Shane Mosley. Now, I'm not saying this is what we'll go through with Terrence Crawford, because Terrence Crawford started something in 2000, what was it? He started in 2007, 2008. It's been about 12 years. But for him to become that big star, it takes a while. But every performance he's put forth so far has been consistent and has been fantastic against, I think, a superior fighter to every other fighter that Terrence Crawford has faced so far. In Kell Brook, he was able to get that guy out of there in 4 rounds. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So I'm very impressed with him. And bright sunny day. Yeah, but we not going nowhere. Okay. Oh, the water pressure is nice and high. I'm gonna wet those plants. Then I'm gonna start preening and weeding. Okay, so you know, Terrence Crawford is good. Most people in boxing say he was the truth, and it's true. But let's not pretend like Errol Spence is you know, afraid to face Terrence Crawford, or his management don't want to keep him with Terrence Crawford. No, Errol Spence laid out what he was going to do against Terrence Crawford, and he's been doing it. The Danny Garcia thing kind of popped up because Danny Garcia jumped in the ring with him. Wish Crawford would have done that, but Crawford, they like, no, we the A side. Crawford always keep on saying we the A side, so Spence had to come to us. That's bullshit. You're not on A side. And that's the problem with these negotiations. Aram always wants things on his terms. But if Spence got to do that, you know, once Aram and they not trying to get the lion's share of the money, because Spence got more belts. He's faced the better competition of welterweight. Bud might be pound #1 in the world, but Errol is, you know, the #1 welterweight in the world. So you gotta respect that. They're both young boxers, so I'd love to see them go at it, you know, and do their thing. I mean, that's what the sport's about, right? Doing your thing. So of course I'd love to see them do their thing. But to tell me that this guy he don't want to face this guy or whatever, don't do that. Don't do that. I understand that fans say that all the time. Oh, he ducking him. He afraid of him. But you're not just a fan. You are an educated guy in the sport of boxing who knows the sport really well. I want to see that fight next year. If neither fighter can get Pacquiao, they're supposed to face each other. You know, Terrence is a champion. Errol's a champion. Um, Once Errol gets past Danny, if he gets past Danny, then Crawford should be next. That should be the next fight, in my opinion. Um, that's what I push for. And only unless Pacquiao comes into the mix, actually wants to mess with one of those guys, it's up to Pac. I mean, it's up to Pacquiao what he wants to do. Me personally, it's up to Pacquiao. I mean, he's built his legacy and stuff, so whatever he wants to do is fine. I mean, if he want to fight Conor McGregor, fine. If he wants to fight Terri Crawford, Danny Garcia, whoever he wants to face, it's okay. See, what people don't understand is, and again, I feel like kudos to you if you want to have a challenge yourself and push yourself and try and unify, right? So if Pacquiao want to face Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford, beautiful. That's beautiful. But reality tells me that if you're going on 42 years of age by December this year, you might want to dial it down a bit because you're dealing with somebody, significantly younger than you, almost 10 years younger than you. So I would say to Pacquiao, consider that if you're going to go face these guys. Consider the damage you took with Keith Thurman. I'm not saying that Pacquiao can't probably even possibly win against either guy, but what kind of damage you're going to take to win? Because even though your defense is okay, you take a lot of punches. Even though you fight smart and everything, you take a lot of punches. And what would be the cost to win those fights? That's what I always ask. Some people say, well, Terrence Crawford will mop the floor with Floyd Mayweather. Maybe. I don't see why not, especially as he isn't boxing a long time. But let's say Mayweather pulls through a victory against Terrence Crawford, a young guy who could heal, and Mayweather, he struggles to a victory, but he makes it. What was the price he paid for that? How much damage did he take after all that entire career where you've been boxing? Now you're going to wait to the end of your career to wreck your life? That's what happened to a lot of great boxers. They got wrecked at the end of their career, staying too long trying to face stiff competition. That's not wise. That's not smart. If you're going to do that, at least get a break first. Take a break from boxing. Make sure you're fully rested up, and then go at it. And Pacquiao's gotten that break, and he's been training in between, so he might be ready to face one of those guys and dare to be great, dare to be the oldest unified welterweight world champion. That's a big. I mean, it's something to go for. I mean, he's still working on his legacy in terms of having lost the fight of the century. He needs to, do something to make up, so like Roberto Duran did. So if he wants to do that, he could do it. I mean, I'll be in this corner because he's an old guy. I'm an old guy. What's the likelihood of him winning against Crawford or Spence? Crawford particularly, I mean, Pacquiao defies the odds, so anything's possible with Pacquiao. But I just think that would be too much for him. I think it would be too much for him. Crawford's a guy that's a thinking fighter. That would be too much for him. And then Errol Spence, again, he has a good shot at Errol Spence based on what Sean Porter did, even though Sean Porter is a different kind of fighter to Pacquiao. Sean Porter more fights on the inside. Pacquiao kind of goes in and out. But I think, again, Spence will get him. Not knock him out necessarily, but he would beat him up pretty bad. And that's why, especially to the body, he'd beat him up pretty bad. And I think that's not necessarily something that a guy who's 42 years of age, I mean, who am I to tell anybody anything? I mean, Bernard Hopkins went till he was damn near 50, right? He was 51, I think. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, I'm just saying that, this is a time when you kind of hang around the sport a little too long. and then you facing top tier competition, you really kind of fell off the boat a little bit. See, Mayweather's smart enough to understand that. Andrew was smart enough to know, okay, my body's broken down to the crapper. I can't keep doing this sport. And he left the sport smart. Even Timothy Bradley, even though he's taking some brain damage, I'm just joking, Bradley. Even though he took some fire, I just think that Timothy Bradley left the sport at he couldn't have left the sport sooner. So it's very good that he left the sport. And I think that's what's keeping him talking and everything. And we just have to monitor him, see how he progresses as he gets older and older. Um, and hopefully he's doing treatments, especially oxygenation, as much oxygenation to his body as possible, so he don't completely break down that body. He's just trying to keep the body somewhat in shape, exercise and stuff. But yeah, Timothy Bradley, man, yeah, another smart guy that left the sport, not too late, because I listen to a lot of boxers and, especially 10 years, 12 years after their careers are over, they're talking with a list, they're talking with a slur. Even Floyd has a little slur. Errol Spence already got the slur on him, so that's not good. That means whatever head trauma he got from the accident, it affected him as well. So we'll see. I mean, he is a boxer. He's used to getting hit in the head, and probably that's why he survived the crash as well, because he probably got, smashed up and his face smashed up and shit, but he still made it because his body was used to impact. So that's probably one of the reasons, and he's probably very sturdy, very strong guy. But the impact might have been, so heavy, so intense that, he probably have some trauma. What I would suggest for him is, again, oxygen therapy. Get yourself and oxygenate your body as much as possible to fight any injuries so you can heal up a lot better, especially the cerebral injuries, the brain injuries that you may have suffered from that shakeup. So that's what I got. We're too blessed to be stressed. Not trying to go in on Andre Ward like that, but it needed to be said, and I double down. I emphasize on that. I don't care what anybody says. It's something where, he's saying he doesn't have nothing against Errol Spence, but he's still pushing the narrative that you hear something in the grapevine. Don't do that. Just say what you got to say and try to push for the fight. Because sometimes by saying in the grapevine all that, you're just siding with ESPN. You just pick sides, And Timothy Bradley comes out and says that fight never gonna happen. I hope not, because we want to see it. We want to see that fight. So I hope that fight happens. Shit, I hope that fight happens. You know what I mean? That fight being on the burner for now, 2014, about 6 years now. It's been on the burner since 6 years ago. So it's gotta happen. You know what I mean? And I think that would be a great fight. So I want to see it. And by Errol not facing Terrence, sooner, Terrence has had the opportunity to grow into welterweight, get really strong, and very comfortable in there, and just improve his craft. So the longer Errol waits, is the better Terrence Crawford will get. That's all. Simple. So I don't understand why this is a problem. You know what I mean? So, because Crawford ain't Pacquiao. Crawford's not Pacquiao. Crawford's a smart fighter, and he knows so many different things in the sport of boxing. So, and that's on Errol. If you want to try and stall it out, but you're gonna have to face him. You gotta face him. You know what I mean? Errol's got to face. He's got to face Crawford. He got to face Crawford in the next year too. But we know this, and I think Errol knows this, and he knows he's got to go face Crawford, and it should be a great fight. So we're looking forward to it. Teofimo Lopez, if you want to become undisputed, you got to face Devin Haney. You got to face Devin Haney. You could front, you could talk about you undisputed, you could talk about you can't. The only people who you fooling is people who not knowing about boxing, and they just go with what ESPN says. But for everybody who's in the know in boxing, you ain't no undisputed champion. You're not. You're just not. And I don't care what Showbiz the Adult says or anybody says. You're not the undisputed champion. Okay? You're not. That WBC title you have, or WBC belt, or whatever you want to call it, it's not transferable. So therefore, you're not undisputed. An undisputed champion, each of the belts he has can be contested by a challenger. so that when the challenger beats him, he becomes undisputed. Unless the champion has vacated one of their titles for whatever reason, or he has lost it because he got title stripped. That's the only way. So Teofimo Lopez cannot pass on that WBC franchise championship. Therefore, he is not undisputed. End of story, point blank, period. And he's not recognized as undisputed by anybody, including the WBC. What you need in the building. I'm going to catch you guys later. Peace.